having designed and from the ground up, you really could plan things out in the beginning. I think that's where some of the biggest savings are, and even some of the small things like designing the bookshelves to go perpendicular to the windows rather than parallel. Then you don't have to have artificial lighting on the back side of the bookcase.
That's correct. And also that it has to do with, again, not designing in obstructions to the ventilation through the building. Anytime you design or you construct a wall that's perpendicular, then you have issues in terms of air movement through the space. This conference room we're in now is a perfect example. Obviously we need some privacy in this building for conferences and so forth. So in this case what we did is we have the operable window and we introduced fans into the space, into these conference rooms. And also up here, as you can see, we provided jealousy windows to be able, again, to help with air movement through the space.
And in terms of airflow around the building, you have operable windows and also have exterior steel beams. Please tell us a little bit about the beams. And all these beams have holes in them.
Yeah, these are called the castellated beams. They're highly efficient, very lightweight beams, and there's very little waste when these are constructed or put together. Basically what they are is a wide flange beam that is laser cut at an angle. They're then slid together and then welded. So a lot of times people look at these and say, well, look at all that wasted steel. You cut the holes in the beam. Well, that's not really the case. Again, if you look at how they're constructed, again, very, very efficient. And again, what these do is they promote airflow. They give us the opportunity to run utilities horizontally through them. And also what they were able to do is, if you look here, our floor to floor is 11 feet. Typically on an office building you can see 13 to 14 feet floor to floor. But being able to keep the exposed structure, being able to keep the metal pan exposed along with these beams, number one, saved us a lot of money. Number two, we were able to lower our floor to floor because of that.
And so these beams, even with the giant holes in them, do they perform as a comparable size full beam?
Yeah, actually they exceed that. They span further than what a conventional wide flange beam would do. So back early on when we were looking at this and designing this building, and we're looking at different structural systems, typically what you're going to see on a building like this is going to be a concrete building, post-tension slab. But at the time, the cost of doing a steel structure versus concrete, the costs were comparable. So what we decided to do was go with this steel frame construction. Aesthetically, architecturally, I think it's much more inviting, more exciting than certainly what you would see with the bottom of a concrete slab.
And how many of the designers and architects here at Weber Thompson were involved with the design process?
We probably had 5 total. I was a principal in charge of design. We had another lead designer. We had an interior designer. We had a few project managers. One important note here, I think, that needs to be discussed is the integrated design process. Basically what that is you bring all stakeholders to the table from the inception, from the very beginning. And what that entails is you bring structural, civil, mechanical, electrical, building owners, contractors, landscape, architects obviously, interior designers, everyone comes to the table at the very beginning, at pre-design, before we even get involved with putting pencil to paper and seeing what we end up with. Critical for sustainable design building. You need input from everyone from the very beginning to pull one of these off. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
And because of this, I mean, it's your building. People come in and they see it and they feel the space and they get to see how it's worked for you. Has this building brought any more business? Do you think it's helped as a marketing tool for Weber Thompson as well?
Very, very much so. Again, our primary client is the developer. And to be able to bring a prospective or current clients through this building and say, look, look what we can do here. This is highly sustainable. It's not rocket science. There's not greenwash on this building. and it works. So it's really a learning tool for our clients and our prospective clients. And yeah, it is, in fact, it has helped us promote our sustainable side of our practice very much.
Great. Well, that's all my questions. If there's anything else you want to, any points you want to share, or?
Well, I think what people have to realize is sustainable design does not necessarily mean you have to have a lot of bells and whistles and a lot of technology integrated into the design. Most sustainable design is common sense design. A lot of it is looking to the past and look how we used to do these buildings and how we used to develop these sites and how we used to manage the water on these sites. We look to the past, and I think there's a lot of very important cues as we move forward.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Scott, for taking the time.
You bet.
And look forward to seeing more of your designs in the future.
Thank you. All right.